on YouTube as well. So GM to everybody. Billy, you there, my man?
Yeah, I am here. I didn't want to interrupt the flow,
No, not all. I hear you. Well, let me do a quick bit of housekeeping, and then we'll kick things off, man. I know you got a busy schedule here, so just want to go ahead and draw everybody's attention to onehive.org. If you haven't been over to the website, please make sure you go ahead and do so. Check out all the cool stuff happening at OneHive. Next week, I hope we'd have Paul on to talk about the water project. Not something I'm going to talk too much about. We mentioned it last week. It was on the Shapeshift snapshot, and I think it's something that looks like it's going forward and has a really interesting multi-community dynamic. So as far as the OneHive side of things is concerned, that's where I think there's a good amount of activity right now. Of course, check out Gardens if you haven't before. HoneySwap on Gnosis Chain, and we're broadcasting here live at this time every Monday. And this week we have a great set of shows coming up for you, 2 at least, possibly 3. So we have today's show, we have the Wednesday show at 3 p.m. Eastern for NFTs and gaming. They got an awesome lineup for this week. And then Miguel's going to be back at 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursday with a Spanish language show and music listening party. So those 2 are definitely happening this week in addition to today's show. And I believe Paul is also going to be hosting Paul 2 Web 3, but I need to double check with him. So there's possible another bonus 4th show this week. Stay tuned. But again, GM to everybody who's joining us here in Discord. Of course, we're also streaming on YouTube, and we get our full stream up there, and we get highlights up as well. Make sure you follow OneHive.org on Twitter. Retweet the today's broadcast tweet and tag somebody in the comment section for a chance to win honey. Let me actually say them again just to make sure that that's clear. If you haven't done so already, head over to Twitter. Go to the OneHive page, OneHive.org. Make sure you follow if you haven't already. And then one of the first, if not the first tweet, should be a description of today's show, telling everybody to join. And if you retweet and leave a comment where you tag some of your crypto friends, we will randomly select one of y'all to win some honey today. So if you engage with us on Twitter, much appreciated. GM to everybody here. Let's get into the news here with you, Billy, my man. We really, so we're going to front load all the insanity, and then we're going to transition to snapshot once I think Billy's got to run, and then we're going to have the second hour with Giveth, and Lauren is going to join us, and it's going to be a sort of a bipolar show today, but it's all for the good, right? We're going to educate about all the crazy shit that's happening, and then we're going to tell you all the reasons why crypto's the future. but
First off, let's go for it, D Wells. I got like a good 30-40 minutes. I think we can get a good flow going here. But first of all, I want to make sure that I am available for that one honey too, just in case. So I want to, since I'm putting the stories, I'll be the first one to answer those questions. But anyways, so the weekend of hacks and burned ETH, it was just insanity. So 2 hacks, actually 3 hacks, almost 4 hacks. Saddle Finance gets hacked. Rari Fuse gets hacked on Saturday, and then Sunday morning they get hacked again on Arbitrum. And then the near Rainbow Bridge almost gets hacked too, but they actually blocked it and defended it. So well done to that team. But yeah, it's just insanity with the hacks. And then just to quick overview of the timeline. I mean, we got to talk about Ape Token and the other side land sale from Yuga Labs and the insanity behind that for sure. And then we have FTM almost dying because the liquidity wasn't enough for the big liquidation from a huge whale. And then Solana goes down again. So a lot to cover today, but we'll cover the hacks and all the details behind that. And I want to say be careful, but sometimes you just don't know. So let's take it away, T Wells. Go ask away.
Right, I mean, I got them lined up here in the browser. So again, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, you get to see what we're talking about here in a little more detail here, and we'll drop the links in chat. Again, if you have any questions about anything we're talking about, don't hesitate. OneHive TV chat here on YouTube, and then of course, if you're watching on, here on the Discord. OneHive TV chat here in the Discord. Drop a comment on YouTube if you wish as well. Let's start with the most recent, which is the Ferrari pool. This is the second time, right? I mean, there's one time I think last year that they experienced an exploit as well.
Yeah. So there is so many things going on. So the first one was on mainnet, and that's the big one, like the big 80 mil hack. It was basically an exploit of the way they transfer ETH. Basically, to keep it simple, another reentrancy attack in a sense. But it was exploited through another cost. So they actually paid a bounty, like a 2 million bounty to like Sam Season and like a really high level like white hat hackers. They said, hey, you got to exploit here, and they patched it like on the top in a sense, in the sense of the contract. Like they wrapped around like where they thought the problem was. But lo and behold, there was another exit liquidity location that they didn't wrap, and they got attacked that way. So like,
Mm.
someone told them, hey, here's your problem, and so they plugged one hole, but they forgot to plug the other hole that I could have, like the classic cartoon water leak in a sense. And so they just opened the door for everybody to like withdraw, and they basically did a reentrancy attack on the withdrawal. And it's kind of the way we deal with transfers of Ethereum. I mean, to get a little bit technical for the guys that really want to know the details, is when you transfer Ethereum from a contract to another contact, there's a few ways to do it. There's a transfer, there's a call, and I think there's one other way, but there's certain give and takes with each kind of code that you do. And nothing's perfect, right? So when you call it a certain way, there's a certain amount of gas that has limitations, and if you call it another way, there's a certain, like, the gas is unlimited, so you can do a couple extra things, and they both have their give and take. And so they fucked up in a sense,
Hmm.
and in short. So, and they were able to exploit it that day. So then it's like, all right, they paused the contracts Saturday. They got coordinated on a weekend. It's hard to get people coordinated on a weekend.
Yeah.
And they paused the accounts. They did everything they should. Lo and behold, come Sunday morning, they get hacked again on Arbitrum, right? It's almost the same thing, but it's not. So the thing that happened in Arbitrum is they had an audit, right? And then after the audit, they changed the code. So they changed the code to something that was vulnerable on the transfer. And then, a big giga brain or an auditor found out and hacked them again. So it was like a double whammy Saturday and Sunday. They hit it from the front to the back. It's so crazy.
God. Yeah, man.
Again, it just goes to show you like audits don't really matter. It's just kind of a formality of, hey, we got to audit, but it doesn't stop them from changing the code after the fact, whether they got an approved audit or not. Like it's just kind of like one of these, like in the stores, like wear a mask, and then the employee doesn't really care if you wear a mask or not. It's just kind of a formality in a sense. But it's always good to be aware of what's going on, but nothing's stopping anybody from changing the code after the fact.
Do you have any idea why that specific change was made? I'm just curious because, like, yeah, I get everything you're saying here. I'm curious if there's like, if there was like, it's just a feature that they upgraded, or do you have any idea about that?
No, no, I don't know. I was just looking at the reports of what people were saying, and like just for curiosity and for stuff that I do, it was like, how do I keep myself secure? How do I keep the contracts that I write secure? So more of curiosity. I don't know the reasoning behind the change after the fact. I'm assuming maybe like a bridge, like not a bridge, but like a proxy to maybe upgrade a contract or to add a new pool or do something else like that. So probably wasn't working. They changed the code and then it worked, kind of thing. So who knows exactly? But yeah, there's a lot of cleaning up to do.
Well, this is the biggest of the bunch, I think, as far as like total amount jacked. I know that there was something that they put up on Twitter. I don't have it at the ready right now, but and there's a 10 million bounty for returning the capital or something like that. Or
I'm sure. I mean, I mean, I would pay 50% of it to get something back, because once it's gone, it's gone. And that's just the unfortunate uh, thing about this space. Like once it's gone, you no longer have control for it. I mean, they have paid big bounties. It's like one of the biggest bounties they've ever paid has been from Rare Capital, 2 million in just the white hack. Like the Coinbase thing, they gave them 100,000, and it saved the whole company from like going under. So I mean, it's not like they were shorting any bounties or anything. It was just somebody saw it and took advantage of it, and hopefully they get some of it back. Depending on what the bounty is, but yeah, hopefully it happens.
yeah, it was kind of my. I mean, just looking at the numbers though. It was like, okay, so I think they offered that after the 20 million, because the first one I think was for 20 mil, but just the idea that it's like, oh, give us back 80 million, we'll give you 10. I mean, like, yes, I
Yeah, I
hope,
mean,
but it's kind of,
yeah.
at a certain level, it's also kind of absurd. It's like, okay, well, is that the best you got there? I don't know.
Well, I mean, all the cards are on the table. When you have 80 mil, you don't even have to really worry about it. But in a sense, how can you live unless you have excellent OPSEC? And there's always that what if function. You're like, do
Right.
they really know who I am or not? Can you move that money peacefully and then live life peacefully without always watching your back just in case? It's always those what
Right.
ifs. And the technology is getting better and better of how to find people that don't have the greatest OPSEC. So, is it better to pay, have the bounty, keep some, and live life well, or you're truly degenerate and he's like, fuck the man and like, hey, let me live this 80 million and let it sit there as a punishment to anybody that didn't believe what I said, or who knows the
Yep.
thinking behind it.
Yep. Yeah. 100%, man. It's
But
yeah. It's right. It depends how many people you're set to piss off, right? I mean, obviously, the more money depends, but what about saddle finance? So this is the other one I know that happened most recently. I looked a little bit into this, but this is a curve fork. Is that right?
well, not well. Yes,
Not
it is
anymore.
in a sense.
In a
Well,
sense.
I mean,
A
Curve
knockoff.
Finance actually is not a open license. Like they use licenses that were not open licenses, or you're not supposed to fork in a sense. And there was a big, hurrah about that. But
Mm.
it's the blockchain. Like what can you really do? Who can you sue? So Saddle Finance used a lot of Curve Finance code, and they were VC funded. So they got a lot of funding using Curve's code. So that was a lot of the critique behind it. And they got hacked because they used an old, like what is it, like a swap utility library that just basically checks price oracles. So there was a new one that was supposed to be patched, but they didn't patch it, because I don't want to say it wasn't their code, but maybe they're not up to date because they're not writing the exact code. So someone took advantage of that, and they were using some old library, and they used the flash loan attack just to drain the vault, and it's just another classic. If you don't know what you're doing in detail, the space will punish you to the T.
Hmm. Yeah. Where was this deployed? Is this on like what chains were Saddle Finance on?
Oh,
I
this
never used
this
it.
is mainnet. Yeah,
As I
this is
thought.
mainnet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those, like, to keep everybody calm. It's like, hey, all the funds are safe, but not that pool.
This is the funny
It's
part
just
that I
one of
snipped
those. Every
earlier.
time you add an asset, yeah, every time you add an asset, there's always a risk. And just to go back to agave, they're very, very, critical of what goes on because of those vulnerabilities. They any token you add has a risk. I mean, there for a long time there's a lot of people making junk tokens to exploit the whole platform and then just drain the vault with all the funds.
Mhm.
So you got to be very careful. Not like it's just like truly the wild west right here. You cannot trust anybody in the space. I mean, there's even cases where rogue. I saw something on Twitter. There was like a rogue, like North Korean agent trying to get into like the platforms as a developer to either one read the code in detail or to put in malicious code. So we're getting attacked on the front, the back, user side, dev side, everywhere. It's just a wild place right now. It's absolutely insane.
Dude, I gotta throw this up here for a second. This is the I don't know if this is the tweet you're referring to, but if people are on YouTube and they can see, this was John Woo that started the thread with no bullshit. I think I just interviewed a North Korean hacker. Did you read this
Oh
thread?
yeah, yeah.
It's funny. If you all haven't seen it, I'll drop a link in the One Hype TV chat here. This is a great thread to read through. It's comedic, but also like realistically concerning. I mean, right? Um, and yeah, and this
It,
is
it's
yeah. Go ahead.
it's yeah. I mean, oh no, like it's just insane. Like they're just getting new ways to get creative to like fuck you over in a sense. Like there is no. I mean, like if I get mad at Kim Jong Un, and I say I'm gonna sue you, he's just gonna laugh at me. It's like it's kind of like there's a no punishment. Prince of Nigeria kind of like I'll steal your money and what are you gonna do about it kind of thing.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean the Wild West thing, and it's got to be that fine line, folks. Right? It's like the risks that we talk about, and like identify in a show like this. It's for your education, obviously, right? To keep each other safe and sort of go into every project with eyes open on it, right? And it's
Right.
just the nature of it, right? You can't have the upside that does exist in crypto without it being dangerous, right? So if you can cover cover your ass on that side and just stay in the space, safely, as safely as possible.
Yeah. I mean it comes down to more education, and it comes to kind of to experience, man. Like, again, like, you can teach kids to be like, "Hey, watch out, watch this is all my experience," but until they experience it themselves, will they truly be like, "Oh, okay, this sucked," you know? Until you experience your first rug, or you experience your first, bad swap, or your bad, bad, trade,
Yeah.
it's something that you keep in yourself to learn, and so, and as we share information, it's good to learn. But next time I get talked to a North Korean hacker too, I might not know who it is.
This is this is the great part.
But I'm gonna say it.
But he ends the tweet. He signs off the tweet. The red flag was, quote, "The world will see the great result from my hands."
Yeah,
Who the fuck
it's
says
like they
that,
took English from like a cartoon. Like if they're watching animes for English, English learning. So it's so crazy how they talk. But that's kind of like dead giveaways. But they're just getting better and better. As they learn from their mistakes, they're just going to get better and better, and we have to be more on point as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Word. Word. I
But
mean,
that being said, with all these hacks, I think I don't. Hopefully, I don't destroy his name too much. But Mutbit Gupta, he's a well-respected security engineer in the space. He's proposing having a new standard for transferring Ether, EIP 5065, I believe. And so it's basically the safe way to transfer Ether with minimal amount of dangers in that to be, not be exploited as much. Nothing's perfect, but
mhm.
there is a trend to like, okay, we've seen what happens when you do this. We've seen what happens when you do that. Let's try to mitigate that with a new standard, in a sense.
Word. Wait, who is this again that we should follow? Maybe on Twitter? I forget what the name you said.
Oh, Mutbit Gupta. He's also a security consultant for Polygon now. Mutbit Gupta.
See if I can get.
Let me see if I can find that on Twitter here. I should have had that ready. Okay.
Hey, we're doing this on the fly, man. It's fun. No, we'll throw it up.
Muidt space Gupta. If you search him in Twitter, you'll find he's an excellent person to follow for hacks. He always has great breakdowns. Pretty quick too. I mean, that's how he got popular. Every time there was a hack, he was on it explaining it in detail.
Got it. Give him a follow here. So this is like him and Zach XBT are good to follow, I guess, on these sort of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
security
I
and
mean, there's
scam
there's a
fronts.
lot of security guys. I follow all the security. Sam Season, another
Yeah.
great security guy. I mean, I'm trying to follow all the white hats that break it down, because the more you know about the hacks, like flash loans, the more you know about them, the more you can help defend yourself. And I find that kind of a tricky situation, because
Mm,
everybody, like, it's supposed to be open source, but no one wants to share their code for front running. Nobody wants to share their code for their flash loan, because the moment you do, the secret's out, and then people can optimize it better, and then they can beat you on the loan. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's the catch 22. The double edged sword is we need to teach people about flash loans, how they work, and so then people will know to cover their mistakes. If that becomes more popular and there's more tutorials about it, and if people truly understand it, it's not a negative tool. We only see the negative, because it's, oh, it's flash loan attack. There was 32 million loaned and they borrowed it out. It's a useful tool. A knife is a tool. I mean, I can use it to cut a steak or open a can, or I can use it to kill somebody. It's just how the people use the tool is what dictates it. We just only see the bad news, but it is a very useful tool, something innovative by Aave to be able to do something like that. And it's, I don't know how to do a flash loan from scratch. There's tools like for Combo that let you do things like, if I want to trade assets and I have borrow and I'm like all in on USDC, and I want to change my position because like the interest rate just went up the roof, and I want to swap it, but I don't have all the money to pay back my loan,
Mm,
and then change it to like USDT or DAI or whatever. I can use a flash loan to immediately swap those assets and then put myself in a better position. So those are valuable tools, but you don't see that on Twitter. Hey, I just saved my position with this, and now it's like, oh, this guy used a flash loan to steal $50 million, and this is how he did it.
hmm We got to do that, man. I mean, I confess myself, right? Like I don't have a complex understanding of flash loans and these sorts of things. Maybe you and I can sort of break it down one day specifically, for people to just easier access, right? And even if they're not like doing those types of transactions, then they can understand like their impact and avoid negative outcomes as to the extent
Well,
possible.
the Yeah, the layman's term is, like when you do a transaction in MetaMask, it happens one time in that transaction. Like I mint an NFT or I buy some honey or something. I trade USDC for honey or something. I click it on MetaMask, and then that one transaction happens on that block, and there it is. So in order to do a flash zone, it's kind of like you have to run a contract. So then you're running so many things at the same time. Because MetaMask only lets you put a button once, and you're human. You can only physically push it once. But a contract is basically code. You can run multiple transactions all in the same thing. So as long as I could borrow $1 billion of the liquidities there, as long as I pay back $1 billion by the end of that transaction block, I'm good. So whatever I do in between, I can write the code for. I can do it. So I can, manipulate a price oracle that was, badly written. I can buy an ape, sell it again if someone's buying. I could, like that's literally somebody did that for the ape as we get into it.
Mm.
Someone bought an ape. They claimed the ape token, sold it back to someone that had a pending ape buy, like a want to buy ape buy, and then cashed out. So basically, they bought the ape, at whatever price. They borrowed the money, bought the ape, claimed the ape token that was, airdropped to that, so they can claim it, and then sold the ape back, and they kept the ape token as a profit in a single flash loan. So
Tricky.
it pays to be creative in the space. If
Yeah.
you are if you are creative in the space, there is a lot of money to be made. And a lot of times it's a full-time job to do something like that, to keep an eye, oh, did this,
Right.
ape claim or not or anything like that. But it's just, if you are crafty in the space, there's a lot of opportunity to be made. And I want to be that crafty, T-Was. I only see the after the fact. I'm like, oh, I should have done that.
I mean, it's both.
But
It's
just what
obviously
it
like
does. Yeah.
awareness of what's happening in the space and the technical ability to execute together, right? It
Yeah,
seems,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, and it's just, there just needs to be more tutorials. Like I am dying to do a flash zone, but my hands are a bit full with a lot of things that I'm working on, that it's like, it's one of those things I'm going to get to, but I never get to. But then you have to be able to read the docs. There's nobody out there like creating a hands-on YouTube video saying, this is how you do a flash zone. This is how you connect the RPCs to the Flashbot network or anything like that. You got to sit there and figure it out, and unfortunately that's the space right now. And I feel like there's a need for more writers in general. Like people say, I want to contribute to Web3, but I'm not technical. How can I be more technical, or,
Yep.
or do what I do in the space? And I mean, the worst thing that I hate reading is docs, because developers don't know how to write docs at all. So reading that is just absolute nonsense. I'm an A to B person, so I want to know what I need to know and then keep moving. But it just does not work in the documents. It's just like, man, I want to do this, break it down. And there's a lot of assumptions. Oh, because I'm writing this code, and this code is from 10 years ago, I'm assuming all about this stuff from the 10 years previous. So let me just start here. So it's like, what the hell do these guys just write? I don't understand it. So if we have like educators or writers writing these documents, like it would make things so much easier and make my life so much easier. Please do.
No, but and just to double up on that, right? Again, if there's anybody in the audience or people right, there's a lot of, if you're on crypto Twitter, you see in the sort of DAO space in crypto Twitter, you hear about this a lot, but like it bears repeating. There's a lot of demand for non-technical skills in Web3. If they're, essentially communication skills are desperately needed across the board. And just to be honest, like to just take it one step further, like if this is something that interests you, you go and you find docs, or maybe Billy could like post a link to an example or something where the docs are near incomprehensible. If you have the interest in improving them, and particularly if the project is a DAO, like I shouldn't necessarily speak for all DAOs, but in the case of One Hive and others, it's like the ethos is really, if you find something that you think you can improve, take an hour and redraft one page and then show it to people and be like, let me do this. I'm just trying to say, if you see an issue in Web3, this is the part of the magic here. If you see an issue and it's non-technical and you can actually fix it and it's substantial and a value add, you should really show initiative. You'll be surprised how far it takes you.
Yeah, for real. Like I'm gonna keep it real like this. Like everybody has an idea. It's like an asshole. Everybody has an idea. But then if you have an idea and say, look what I've done, that speaks like mountains, like,
Yep.
okay, this
Yep.
guy is actually following up on his idea and he has something to show for it. Everybody's got great ideas. I fucking got ideas for days. I'll sell you books on ideas, but executing is a totally different story. I want to do this and that, but if you never get to it, it's like, oh yeah, I got other people telling me ideas too. So
100%.
and set yourself apart. Set yourself apart. Throw me an NFT on my wallet address, okay, with your resume. That's something unique. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, I'm probably gonna burn it, but either way, I'll remember it.
Win edit, sir.
But yeah, definitely. But there's definitely a lot of space. And so now coming up to the big topic, Yuga Labs, Ape Token Madness, destroying either scan. It is insanity. Basically, in short, it was the rich man's game. Ultimately,
Mm,
it was it goes against the ethos of what Web3 was trying to do. In short, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, and I'm very opinionated, but a lot of people felt they had the opportunity to be a part of the Board Ape Yacht Club and this with this drop. Oh, I missed the board apes, I missed the mutant apes, I missed the airdrop, I missed, everything that was going on here. This was my chance to have some ape token and get some land. That's what a lot of people felt. Okay. And so when it came to drop time, and then people were getting priced out just by gas alone, you know, and I felt like that was a really bad situation. I watched people sell their assets. I watched people sell their NFTs or anything to buy a token at
yep.
$22
Yep.
and then, have like a couple ETH. I'm like not even a full ETH of gas, only to lose out to not being able to mint, losing the gas, and then having ape token dump on them and then losing that asset too. And then they had nothing to show for it. So that was a really, really shitty situation for me to witness to a lot of people. And you could see the anger in a lot of the Twitter space as well, like of people that just got burned. Yeah, they could refund the gas, but it still doesn't mean like you're gonna like get back the value of ape token that you swapped it for. And I think it went down like 20%. It was like 22, and then it's down to like $16 or whatever it is now. I haven't watched the price, but I mean it's just very upsetting, especially because they did a KYC with a whitelist off the top, and they knew how many people signed up. They knew, and then they had this Dutch auction with this code that was, I mean, whether the contract was optimized or not, I mean, they were going to cause a flood, but the amount of like just bad optimized code in the contract itself just kind of killed the gas. Like you're just wasting users' gas. And so it became the rich kids' playground. Like if you didn't have enough, if you didn't have 2.5 ETH to play, then you couldn't play in
Right.
a sense. And who has an extra 2.5 ETH to burn on gas? That was the big issue. Like not a lot of people do. I mean, if you had an ape drop and you've been, lucky with those drops and cashed out, you did. But everybody else that was trying to get into the Yuga Labs universe had no chance, zero chance. And that was kind of like my issue with it. I mean, I knew there was going to be a gas war. I knew there was going to be a want, but they had all this KYC, all these things beforehand to give people a chance. And people that had KYC still didn't have a chance, which is insane. So it's like they set a precedent. People were willing to give up their information to buy land, and then now they can afford it. So what's next? You have to put like link your bank account to make sure you can afford the gas to do this. Like, oh, it's only accredited investors can now buy Yuga Labs things because then you can afford the gas. So it's set a bad precedent on that, in my opinion. And then you know um bad optimized code. I mean, you're talking about a like multi-million billion dollar company, and I mean, great at marketing, but that doesn't mean they're good at tech,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the Azuki team optimized this in 30 minutes and cut the gas cost in half in 30 minutes. They just kind of just rewrote it like on the fly. They took out some unnecessary things and did it so like they could have saved the gas, but it's insane. Like, just how come they didn't consult anybody? They started with the Dutch auction and then decided not to do it. They said it was bullshit, but they left all the code in. So all this unnecessary gas that people had to pay was just kind of lack of I can't think of the word right now, but I want to say respect, but for lack of a better word, respect for the user in a sense. They weren't thinking about them as the end user to like what was going to cost them. And then they made a bunch of mistakes too, like they revealed before they wanted to reveal. It's a whole lot of fuck ups in a sense. Setting the precedent of Yuga Labs was to be the standard, and so they've been on fire. Marketing. Anybody that wants to have a marketing playbook can look at Yuga Labs, and then this is the time they actually messed up. And and they have this game, and now there's a whole other issue now with their licensing rights. Okay, so the question is, you have all this extra licensing in the actual metadata and the contract when you're trying to mint, but you have this short amount of time to actually mint one. So who's going to go there and read all the terms and conditions? knowing that they only have like literally seconds or a minute to mint before it gets sold out. So who actually took the time to read the licensing rights before they minted it? They created this panic, they created this whole chaos, and which is a great marketing. Everybody's talking about it, but then nobody really took the time to read the terms and conditions until after the fact. And they got all this legal jargon. You don't really fully own the assets. You don't have your coda. You can't sell this on the open market, and we have the right to take it away. Then there's all this legal jargon that really is more limiting than anything. When they just said a few months ago, oh, the Bored Apes are the IP's yours, whoever's the owner is. So it's a total like 180 on the language of what Yuga Labs is. Now there is a partnership with a game, and they're trying to make a game, but making a game is really hard. And so if they release a game and it's not very good, then that could really mess with the value of what they're trying to build. So in a marketing sense, it's almost better if they never release the game and just keep the hype going. Honestly, that's my opinion. Anyways, I
There
want to
needs
hear
to
your
be
take.
there needs to be some record. Maybe Rect will do this, where it's just the number of NFT projects that have a roadmap to a game. That like what percentage of them are like let's leave the quality of the game aside, right? But how many of them actually make it to the game, any game, right? And in this case, I hear that it's kind of like you know Polkadot or others, where it's like it's better. Sometimes the hype around a project is so strong and that it is reflected in the price action. It's like better if you don't actually release a working product. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
100% agree. The expectation has been set so high for this that, given the results of what they produced in this last run, it's like, well, what are they going to pull out with this game? Like how good is it going to be? Because they did everything sloppy. Airdrops, I don't want to say they're easy, but they're easier than what they just came out with. So when they actually got into the technical scope, I think they either have to regroup and hire a really good technical team, which I think hopefully this is lesson learned, and they can kind of pivot off this. But repaying everybody's gas is not an answer. You left a lot of people burned with the ape token on there, and I still don't necessarily see the need for it yet. I know OpenSea is accepting it, but I don't see any other utility other than it's just putting more money in rich people pockets. And then they're talking about creating their own chain. They saw that people's, I think, like 150 million in ETH was burned. So I mean, it's like, hey, we saw ETH burn 150 mil, we can make our own chain and pocket that too. That's the mentality that I'm getting from that. It's like they could have ran it optimized, and yeah, I knew it was going to be messed up with the gas war, but I wouldn't use it on the people's pockets to kind of prove your point of hey, let's make our own chain and profit from this. That's
it
kind of
almost
left a
makes you
bad taste in my
wonder.
mouth too.
Yeah, it
And that's
almost
the
makes you
language
wonder,
that they're
right?
using. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it almost makes you wonder. I mean, this
Yeah,
is the way
it's like,
I'm always going to
what
be
is
cynical. It's like, let's max it out and make it as expensive as possible. Fuck all the little people, and then we get to launch our own chain based on that pretext. No, I know that sounds super cynical, but like you said earlier, man, this crypto.
yeah, you can't trust anybody. That's why I would tell you, do not trust anybody, even if they've been your friend to begin with. Don't trust me, T Wells. Okay, you never know. It's just one of those. It's one of those things. Like once you get that money, and once you get all those MBAs whispering in your ear, maybe the project started with a solid project, but once money starts coming in, and we're talking like life changing money for generations, people change the narrative. People start getting influenced by outside influencers. So like you gotta be careful of what the agenda is for people once they have that money. I mean, Vitalik is one of those guys that, like, man, I have to give props because
Dude,
he's made a lot of money, but he still stayed true to what he believed in. There's not that many people that have. A
no,
lot of people made a lot of money overnight. Like they made a couple $1 million overnight. I mean, when she made $1 million, I'm gonna be honest. I'd be like, I might not have to go to work tomorrow. Like let me just chill a little bit. So,
no, it's true,
it's
man.
just one of those things. Like, how can we keep making more money? How do we keep making more money? Okay, this can only go on for so long. So as these, MBAs and all these VCs are in there and they're in their ear, like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. It's like, okay, it's killing the ethos of Web3 of like, everybody has a chance. Like you can't even get into space anymore. That's the problem. And that's the problem for Yuga Labs. Like, how do you create a land? Like, how do you make it so expensive that it's incentivized for people to have this land, but then everybody else to use it so you can make money on the land? So like if it's too expensive to use, then who's going to use it?
Yeah, man, it's like I think that people who don't see, well, I'm like political sort of by my nature. I grew up in the, the DC area. And so it's kind of unavoidable. But the way I look at it is like you have an economic system around Ethereum, right? That has, in all sense and terms, it's developed its own oligarchy, right? Like there's a faction, right, of huge ETH bag holders. And I'm not saying this to be like critical. I'm saying this is a phenomenon that happens like in all human systems, in my opinion, particularly if it involves money. Like it's not to say it's inevitable, and like what we're doing here I think is intentionally grassroots and trying to like provide a better alternative. But at the same time it's like if you have something where the most valuable NFTs and the most valuable so-called like a metaverse land is all in the hands of ETH rich people. Like it's really unfortunate, but it's entirely not surprising. Unfortunately, it's like, yes. And so what are they going to do? Like maybe fractionalize them and then they'll give a chance for people to like buy a part of them in the future. Like I have no idea. Maybe that's sounds like the next logical step if you wanted to just keep making money, but now enable the holders to like make money. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, and actually, fractionalizing real estate is kind of illegal in the states. So I don't know how they'll handle that because one of my ideas was to fractionalize commercial real estate on an NFT,
Yeah.
and all the lawyers said no, no, no. So I was like, oh, fuck that. So
So
very curious to see how that would work.
so what's is fractionalized art? Is this not illegal in the United States though, right? It's just real estate and is I'm sure there's some complex reason as to why.
I don't actually know the details of it. Like it just I mean, there's a whole bunch of things for real estate and putting in NFTs, like, buying commercial property, like, okay, what if the lease goes up? Who renews it? Who what if the tenant doesn't pay the bill or somebody gets hurt, the insurance and all that. So it's a very difficult thing when you're dealing with that kind of entity because there's so many responsibilities that, when a decentralized, like, well, who pays the lawyer? Who pays this? Like how does it work? That's just something that needs to come over time
Mm-hmm.
and figure it out. But given where we are right now, it's literally impossible. So now, because it's impossible, it's technically illegal. So
I
fractionalizing
got it.
art, I don't know, but yeah, it's just one of these things that legal binding is stopping technical ideology, and literally people are leaving the states because of it. I know a couple devs that have left the states because of it, so they can work on their own thing. So it's
Yep.
kind of a weird situation we're in right now. But a weirder situation is FTM,
Yeah,
the
take away
Phantom
Phantom.
Network.
Yeah, all right.
So,
Maybe this is
I
coming.
mean, this absolutely insanity, absolute insanity, where FTM was in danger of like totally being destroyed and unstable because of a whale getting liquidated on the network. So I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm just for example, the whale had $50 million, in FTM, and FTM in a total whole only had $40 million of liquidity on the chain. So he was like about 1% away from being liquidated. And so once he was liquidated, and then there's a big debt IOU on the FTM chain, like nobody else would be able to pull their funds out of FTM, and like nothing would, like, it would be like a locked chain. Like there would be too much debt on the chain. So like I don't even know the catastrophe that would have happened of like everybody that had their funds on chain. It was insanity. Like he made a call to I think a couple million to stop that liquidation, but I think some was liquidated. I don't know the full status of where FTM is right now, but I think it seems okay. But there was a huge risk of like the whole chain being in debt, which I've never seen before. So it was kind of interesting to see what happened. And it ties back all the way to Andre Cronje,
Yeah, man.
back to his solidity or whatever it is, and the
Yeah.
dump, and then FTM losing so much value in a short amount of time, and this guy just having the ability to he was basically degenning it with like 40 mil, and basically risk the whole chain of just total collapse in a sense.
I just got to interject here. This is, it's like, and I know we'll get to this, but
But yeah,
it's good to be operating on a chain where there is just a completely different ethos, I think, around Gnosis chain, right? It's different and there's nothing, no perfect system, but like, I don't think that Gnosis chain is at risk of something like this happening. I mean, from the get, I mean, I could be wrong, right? But it seems like you're dealing with obviously sort of a qualitatively different ecosystem. But yeah, there's still a lot going on in the Gnosis chain space we can get to. As far as this is concerned, like, is this cleared? Do you know, or is this still like a sort of Damocles over Phantom? Like maybe this guy's existence is a sort of Damocles in perpetuity. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just so much stuff happening in the space that's insane that I haven't kept up with it. I just saw it and I like, oh shoot, and then like I saw that he got bailed out a little bit. But if Phantom keeps losing value, then they're fucked. There's no other way to say it. So many things happen in the space that people are unaware of. I was thinking like the superhero movies, like where this guy's like saving the universe, like fighting in the galaxy, and then we're all on Earth not knowing what's going on, but we're just living our lives. And then this guy's like, you could have died like in a blink of an eye if it wasn't for me. Like this is what's happening in all the chains in the space. Who knows what's going behind the scenes of like liquidations, hacks? It's just a crazy space. Like I don't know how the devs that handle bridges or the devs, like a guy, like how do people that have all these exploits sleep at night? Like I worry about stuff that's only like a couple thousand, maybe a cool mill or anything. But these guys are working with like multi-million and billion-dollar platforms. Like, how do these guys sleep? That's crazy.
The devs and the lawyers, right? They gotta have the hardest time sleeping.
Yeah, no kidding. And then speaking of sleeping, Solana went to sleep again.
I got a nice one from Dosh. This is a good one.
It's so crazy. Like everything. I call it Sad Saturday. Sad Saturday is what I call it now because it was absolutely insane of all the things that happened. This all happened on a Saturday too, just an FYI. But Solana goes down again because they can't handle the spam. Basically, it's spam ultimately. I know Ethereum has had its issues and they've had their issues, but the amount of times that Solana has gone down in the year has been pretty rough. And it's a very critiqued chain because it's VC funded, FTX, and those guys are behind it, and they got it at discount. And literally, I was talking to another dev that does Solana stuff on there, and I kind of like mentions like Ethereum. Like I'm not an Ethereum maxi, but I do feel like decentralized is still the focus of what a lot of the ethos is for a lot of people in the space. And Solana, like a chain has a CEO, it doesn't really make the most sense to me but I do use Solana and I am learning how to work on Solana. You got to be able to understand all chains to really make your opinion on it. But I was like, somebody could call the CEO of Solana and say, hey, block this user, and then he can coordinate with all the validators, and they technically could block users.
If the chain's
and lo and
running.
Behold, they have made the decision. Yeah. Lo and behold, they made the decision to block, certain NFT and certain spammers. So now the validators have coordinated to block those users in a sense. So, I mean, they have to do what they have to do to keep the chain running, obviously, but it sets a precedent of, the validators can coordinate and do that. And basically they show their hand in a sense. Now, I'm not saying Solana's bad. I will still use it. I will still learn to develop on it, but it does set that precedent of like, hey, like anytime I tell somebody to use something, you gotta let them know the pros and the cons. And it's like one of those cons, like they've done this before. USDC has, paused people's funds, so they've played their hands. So that's your choice of whether you want to use it or not. But you got to know the good and the bad, and these are one of the things that could be bad. Solana's critique for me would be like, to be a validator, you have to be very rich to do so, because the price of Solana, proof of stake, it's a very limited validator network now. If you got in early, great, good for you. But if I was, some third world country and I wanted to run a validator for Solana, I cannot afford to do so. So then, then you question is it decentralized or not, in a sense.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, look at Ethereum. So we had, obviously the major event of Yuga Labs, which we just talked about, and essentially when the price to transact is much higher, right, the ability to spam up the network is, I mean, it's like a deterrent, right? But what are some other ways that you think, what are other measures that could be taken to avoid these types of bot attacks on a relatively cheap chain? Like, are there other ways to deal with it?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, you can't without limiting saying like you can't do it without limiting people. Like, I want to say, oh, I want to stop all criminals, and then all of a sudden, like it's like cities, like demographics, people in this neighborhood or this zip code are mostly criminals, so let's block this area out. You can't do that without like playing favorites in a sense. Like you have to either
Right.
be all open or you're not.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's a tough choice.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
got to, either you optimize the code to be able to handle it, or it becomes too expensive to do so. And like Ethereum, like anybody that wants to span the network is going to pay a big penny. Polygon dealt with that issue when they, have to be gas for one, and all of a sudden became unusable because it was too cheap. So someone was literally sending transactions back and forth themselves for literally less than a penny, and they were able to do it all day. So they had to increase the gas. They had to increase the gas to 30, and then now the gas is running around 50 to 60 on average. It's still about a penny, but you're talking about when they first promoted Polygon, it was point like one gas, and now you're running at 60 gas, which is not problematic now because Matic is cheap. But if it's the same thing as Ethereum. Ethereum was cheap before too, and now it's getting very expensive. So in order to transact, it's again another mirror scenario, like if Matic goes up in price, then it pretty much makes it more expensive to transact.
Right. XDAI. I got the
Yeah, there you go.
I got
Yeah,
up on screen right now. That I thought this was
XDAI
rich.
is nice. Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Right.
I do promote Gnosis. I do promote Gnosis a little bit because of the concept of it. I mean, the biggest problem with Gnosis, in a personal opinion as dev, is it's the redheaded stepchild of all the other chains. Um, as a developer, there's a lot of cool tools that are out there, but there's Gnosis is not on the list. Oh, I want to use Morales. Oh, we work for Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, but there's no Gnosis chain. I want to have an XYZ through ENS and relay it through my MetaMask. Oh yeah, we don't support chain 100. That's the problem with the NFBs.xyz on mobile MetaMask. So that's why I had to create .site to be able to do that, because they don't relay. I want to use the OpenSea API. Oh, we're only on Polygon and Ethereum. So there's a lot of issues that Gnosis chain has to basically create relations with all these other tool builders. So then it's easier for us to build on the chain. Does it make me a better dev to not use these tools? Sure, it does. But I like my life to be easier to just call an API and do what other people are doing. I want to make an NFT gallery. Why can't I call an API and like OpenSea and then just create my galleries? No, instead I have to like do it manually and pull data. So it's like the easier you are to onboard people with a better amount of tools, the more people that are going to come. And then you're going to get more, volume lock because you're going to have cool stuff. I always say for chains, it's like Nintendo, Genesis, Xbox, right? If you have a Nintendo and everything's there, then why would you buy an Xbox or why would you buy Genesis to play on? I'm giving my age because I'm talking about Genesis, and like most people don't even know what the fuck Genesis is. But I'm just saying in general, like if I wanted a PlayStation, why would people get a PlayStation over an Xbox? It's, oh, we have a better library, and Ethereum has all the dApps. They got all of them. Anything that's cool is on Ethereum. So why would anybody go to Gnosis chain other than the fees if there's not enough volume? For a long time we didn't have a borrow lending until the Gov did it. A long time we didn't have a DEX until HoneySwap was created. So sometimes things are built on need, but for me to go there's like, well, if I want to play, I want to do something, where are the tools at? Why should I go over here other than a cheap rate? I need more tools. I want more functional stuff. So sometimes I have to push people to Polygon because they know OpenSea. So if there was a cool app that people can use to onboard people and just start migrating over to Gnosis chain, not only is it cheap, but it's user friendly for the devs, user friendly for other people. Instead of like, oh, I'm used to OpenSea, now I have to learn ePOR or rare gems or anything. Like they don't know that stuff. So the easier it is to make more people, the more relations you have with the RPCs. Like Anchor just created an RPC for them, so that was cool. But we just need more tools, and that's not the dev responsibility. That's the Gnosis chain responsibility to create those relations and make life easier for us. I know there's incentives for developers to bring over, but again, like if I wanted to create an NFT gallery, I have to be able to build that from scratch. There's no quick API, at least I don't know of a quick API to build that for different projects. So, it's one of those things that we got to coordinate with Gnosis chain, and something that I think maybe devs don't really understand is like there's a lot of marketing material that we have to do back and forth, so then people know that it exists. Because when I say Gnosis chain, most people don't know it even exists. They know Solana, they know Avalanche, they know Ethereum, they know Polygon, but Gnosis chain is just one of those like who. So it's just, another one of my my rants in a sense, but Like I like Gnosis Chain. I think the ethos is good. Like I like cheap transactions, less than a penny. I love it. I'm able to play without worrying about, did I swap right or not? Did I mess up? I do that in Ethereum. I'm sweating for a $20 transaction. So
Right.
that's my spiel.
I mean, I actually think it makes a really great transition because we got a number of things. Obviously, Ed wasn't able to be with us today, but we have a number of links that he provided to some great stuff on Snapshot. And one of those is GIP 38. So this is a proposal that Gnosis DAO create a Gnosis Chain ecosystem growth initiative. This is not the first of its kind, but it's definitely something where I feel like everything you're, suggesting, Billy, and talking about, would fold into this. Like it has actually accrued critical mass on the snapshot. So this is happening, and the details of it everybody can check out either on the snapshot if you're watching on YouTube. We'll drop the link to the forum post. The initial proposal here is as soon as the structure for investment is ready, Gnosis now commits around 60 million worth of stable coins, and then as soon as the structure, the structure for operations, the company is ready, it will commit 20 million worth of stable coins and 50K with the GNO to the designated company multi. Okay, so we got getting the details of the numbers. The forum post uses some larger figures, I think, to like frame the whole initiative. But the idea is this includes everything from marketing to growth to business development. If there are ways to generate these partnerships to make building less more frictionless. I don't know, Bill, you should head over to their forum and leave your 2 cents, brother.
I will, except most of my GNO is gone, and then some is farming, so then I can't get to vote, which is a problem too, because sometimes it's locked up somewhere, and then when they take the snapshot, you can't say, you can't have a voice. So it's just another thing that we got to fix at some point. But there's one thing, like I use Ricochet to dollar cost average, but I can't do it because it's not live on Gnosis Chain. So I got to go over to Polygon. I got to buy my ETH there. I would absolutely love, and I know there's price articles things, but I would love to dollar cost average by the second for Honey or Agave. I think that would bring a lot more, volume over to it as well. Just to be able to just dollar cost average, not worry about it. Do one superfluid stream, buy it, and then just, that's what I do. I just top up. Everybody uses superfluid stream. I just literally use Ricochet to go bounce back and forth and dollar cost average like my large tokens, Ethereum, Bitcoin, all that stuff. So I would love to do that on Gnosis Chain because it's cheaper and faster. So why not?
Yeah.
But
well, there's a great ecosystem of
let me
people
vote
here.
with my liquidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but I want to vote for it. I'm not by far not a GNO by far, but I mean, I'm slowly buying it. I would love to dollar cost average my GNO. I have to do swaps manually now, so it is what it is.
Well, we're doing, so they actually asked me to come on. It's I don't know if it's gonna be probably bi-weekly to start, but I know that they have a lot of folks on the ground at these conferences in Europe, and there are a number of projects, including last week we spoke with KeyDAO, My Finance, which is deployed on Gnosis Chain. So I think like the idea of bringing Ricochet over and some of these others that are already paired up with projects like Superfluid, that work interoperability with these other projects that are already on Gnosis Chain just makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, I'm highly biased here, obviously, given the relationships that we have with the folks there, and the fact that One Hive's home is here. But it'd be nice to see this as this growth initiative is clearly going to pass and bring some serious capital to bear on marketing and business development and all that. Hopefully they can follow the playbook that, as you said, has sort of been laid out by the likes of other projects, like take the good stuff and then keep the quality ethos.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want farming rewards too. D Wells, okay, I need some money too. I'm broke.
Well, if you're a GNO holder, by the way, you should also
more stuff.
What's that?
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say there is another forum post, and it's on the Snap as well. Both of the ones I'm discussing here, like the growth initiative, will close in a couple of days, so it's not quite there yet, but it has passed quorum. So according to their governance, it's like the quorum is 4% of the total circulating supply, which I think comes down to like 76,000 GNO. So this got 94K over it, so that's going to pass. The other one I think is relevant is this target supply for 3 million GNO, and this is also well on its way to passing with even more support, and this ends tomorrow. Again, you can look more into detail on this, but the bottom line is, and this is if people have any insights, ideas, comments, questions about any of the stuff you're seeing, we've talked about, please drop them in chat. We'd love to hear from you and try to answer them to the best of our ability. But when it comes to this proposal, essentially, the original supply cap was 10 million for GNO in total. And then in November of 2020, the DAO was created, and then it was like, I think it was like 1 million GNO up front, or 2 million. No, I think it was like 8 out of 10 million total was going to go to the DAO. The first million was transferred immediately, and the other remaining portion is vested. I know I probably don't have the numbers right, but the idea is they want to have a significant burn of this enormous portion of GNO that was otherwise going to go to the DAO. So if you're a GNO holder, this is a pretty important proposal as far as its impact on tokenomics. So definitely something to take a look at here. If you know, again, if you're particularly if you're on Gnosis chain, or if you're bullish on Gnosis, is something to be aware of. And I'm just going to promo their Substack here. It's good to, you know, check them out weekly. If you're not following Gnosis chain weekly on Substack, you should check them out. They got a nice recap of everything that's going on, including these governance activities and project updates. I don't know, Billy, you're talking early. We got a few minutes left until the top of the hour. So I just wanted to like maybe close out with one other thing that Edu had dropped and get your thoughts on this. I mean, I'm looking at here on Snapshot. Let's shift over to Aave just for a second. So here's a blue chip protocol, and the proposal is to add Frax as a collateral asset on Aave v3. So there's two things I would ask about this. The first is, as you mentioned earlier, anytime you're adding assets or like doing this sort of thing, there's risk involved. If you could just speak to a little more to that. And then like, at the very bottom, it shows that what is really happening here, I believe, oh no, sorry, this is with Ohm. There's another one example with Ohm where Frax is basically replacing DAI as their main liquidity source, but we'll come to that in a second. Adding new assets to borrowing and lending protocols, there's always risk here. Just help us understand a little more about that, man.
So each token, like a lot of people follow certain standards, you can code extra functions onto your token itself. So a lot of people use the library Open Zeppelin that has an ERC20 standard. ERC20 standard like is the standard for most tokens. I mean, some tokens existed before that, like USDT, so they have other functions like that. But for the most part, anybody who's making tokens uses ERC20. There is a streamable token that Superfluid uses that is an ERC777 that have additional functions, and that was part of the issue with the bridge tokens on Gnosis. They have abilities to do something called callbacks. So you can do extra things, you know, those extra things can be good or they could be bad. So when you list an asset that can do extra things, that opens up to new vulnerabilities of such. So, and then Frax, let's say a big example, a lot of people use, I would say USDT. Oh, you know, it's backed by commercial paper. We don't know, we don't know it. It's been said that it could depeg any day. So when you run the asset of a stable coin or some kind of backed by stablecoin function, what happens to the asset when it depegs or the value drops? You know, if you borrow against it, I put $100 million on something and I borrow Frax and then it goes to a penny, you know, then like I've literally made a whole bunch of money. There's a lot of risk on that. Like if I put an ETH and then I borrow USDT, I can short it in a sense, because if it worth 50 cents, I can pay back half the value and pull all my assets out. So it really messes with the liquidity of the platform itself. So, you know, I don't think Frax will do that, but the Frax's model does make money, but it makes money by vampiric on other protocols. Like you drop on Curve and then they dump Curve tokens to improve the price of Frax. So if that ever stops, that messes with their business model. But any token you add to a protocol runs the risk of having an exploit in the token itself, and then it can take advantage of the platform that is offering it, which you saw with the two hacks today, or the weekend.
Right. I got it. Okay, so in other words, it's not just the nature of the token itself, but it becomes like a vector, basically, for a potential attack.
Yes, yeah. I put more doors in the house, there's more chances for entry, in a sense.
Yeah, I hear that. Right on, man. Well, I know we're at the top of the hour here. I want to hear more about your thoughts specifically on some of these. You know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Frax at another point in time. And we've been talking recently. Spoke with the guys at KeyDAO last week about and just the trade-offs between the different types of stablecoins that are available. I know that Frax is unique in that it's sort of a hybrid algo and collateral, which I know that and can say it and repeat it, but at the technical level, I'm sure you could shed more light on what exactly that means and how it like maybe splits the difference between a pure algo or a pure collateral stablecoin. But I really appreciate you joining us, Bill. I know it's short notice, man. And your show is going to be next week, right? So we can tell the people to
Yeah,
tune in.
yeah, next week for sure. I try to stay corporate too well. So, I kept the suit and tie on today. Some slipped out, but hey, I kept it clean for Monday. Sure. I don't want Edu to come back and say, "Hey, what happened? Everybody canceled me."
I appreciate you, Billy, man. You have a good week, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys, have a good one. And then and next week, just cause some drama in the chain so I can talk more nonsense about cool stuff. And then if you have a topic, bring it up. Let me know.
Next Tuesday.
I'll let you guys go. Have a good one, guys.
Cheers, man. All right, everybody. GM, we're going to take a 30-second break here. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to get the next couple slides queued up here. I'm going to bring Lauren up on stage because we are going to be talking Giveth for the next hour. So get excited there, and we'll be back in just a second. GM, everybody, thank you for joining us. Lauren, GM, how are you?
GM T. Wilson, doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Long time. It's been a little while since we've had a chance to chat. I'm excited to have you on today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, if you have not heard of Giveth, I don't know. We talk about a lot around here, and in crypto Twitter, you're following me or any other folks at One Hive. I'm sure you've run across Giveth.io. Head over to there now in your browser if you haven't, and you can kind of follow along there. Follow on YouTube. We'll be showing a bunch of cool stuff, some cool alpha from the project today. Lauren's going to share with us. Just want to orient you, GM, everybody, for listening and tuning in today. Let's get started here. So tell me, Lauren, what have you been up to since ETH Denver? Let's start there. I think it was last time we had a chance to chat.
Yeah, I mean, since ETH Denver, it's a whirlwind. Me personally, I was at the Taoist in Mexico City, and then I spent a couple of months in Ecuador, and all the while working on a lot of really cool stuff at Giveth. Yeah, in the Giveth space and stuff, I'm really excited to be talking about today is, many things. We did a whole makeover of our DApp. We updated the entire code base and just refined everything, and we combined a bunch of things to make everything lighter and faster. We did a lot of playing in the Give farm, and now we have something called Regen farms, which we'll get into later. And then we're also working on developing new products and new really cool things that are coming out for Giveth, like NFTs on Giveth, project curation so that Give holders can decide which projects get the most donations on the platform, and other cool liquidity solutions. So we've been busy. I've been busy and having a lot of fun too.
Sounds like it. Yeah, I've been keeping track there and been participating to the best of my ability. You guys have got a lot of cool stuff in the works there.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I don't know if anybody here follows our Twitter, but if you want to follow us at giveth.io, I keep people abreast of most of the hot topics, so there's most of the information on there. But we'll get a little bit more into it here.
And do you run that Twitter account? So you're the. And do you run that Twitter account, Lawrence? You're the one. You're the behind the curtain there.
Yeah. It's actually mostly just me running the Twitter. I get some feedback and some support from Griff, but yeah. Yeah, I'm
Right
I'm
on.
the magic behind the Give with Twitter, among other things.
Awesome. Well, do you want to? Where would you like to start today? I know you had a list of things you'd like to cover. Is there some place you'd like to begin?
Yeah, I think starting with just a little intro of the DAP makeover. Wait. First
Yeah.
question. The links are being shared on the One Hive TV stream on YouTube, right? So we can kind of you're doing a screen share.
Right. So on YouTube, if folks are watching there, you can see everything that we're talking about live, queued up there, and then we can also drop links in the One Hive TV chat channel, which is just a little bit above the stage here. As I've mentioned before, it seems like every week it's like, don't worry, there's a new Discord overhaul coming. But yeah, any relevant links we can drop there, and folks, you can find them there, ask questions, etc.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the first thing I'd love to talk about is just the DAP makeover. We basically updated the entire Give with DAP. We used to have these people, and the people were kind of holding signs and things, and we just with the help of Marco. I mean, Marco is an amazing Web3 UI UX designer, and he did an entire makeover of the DAP, and we added all kinds of new features. And then while we were beautifying everything and changing the way it all looks, we also added a bunch of new features and little things for improved user experience. And yeah, and then also like worked a lot on the code base side. So I can kind of just like touch on some of the things that we added and we did. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but yeah, I'll just kind of like give a little overview.
Yeah, go for it.
That sounds good. Yeah. So we wanted to add a feature for project creators to basically save their projects as a draft. So we never really had this feature before. It's like you would either create your project right away, but you couldn't really come back to it. So now in the create a project flow, you can actually create a project, add your description, and then come back later, like check in with people, and it automatically gets saved as a draft. And so it's like under, if you like are in my account, you can for my account for project owners, you can see your drafted projects, you can see your published projects, you can see if the projects are verified, if they're listed or unlisted. Projects on Giveth that are listed are the ones that can be searched on the, and they show up on the homepage, and then unlisted projects are basically pending review and don't show up on the homepage. So yeah, we added in those features just to make it easier for project creators to add their projects onto Giveth. It's like one of the really like central things to Giveth. So we want to make it easier for people. Yeah, and then also in like for the browser side of things, we also added into my account the ability to see all of your liked projects. So it's like if you're going through Giveth and you're clicking the hearts and liking projects, you can actually have them all saved within your profile. So if you go into if you click your name at the top right corner and then go into my account, you can click on liked projects and just see the full list of all the projects that are there. So if you wanted to save them for later and go back and donate, it's also like one easy consolidated place to see all your projects. So yeah, they're just a couple of small new features that we added. But what's really exciting is actually before we did this update, we had the Give Economy side. So if you like click on the Give Economy tab, the Give Economy side was separate. It was actually a separate DApp that you could like link between the two. It was a separate DApp from the donating side. And so we actually had our devs rewrite. I mean, it used to be, I think, in JavaScript, and now everything is in TypeScript. And so they rewrote the entire code base and they combined and merged the two dApps. So we like improved the efficiency and made everything lighter and faster and sleeker and just like way more better integrated. And yeah, it's like, it's so nice. Like it's working like a really well-oiled machine. Yeah, and it's something that we're really, really proud of.
I dig it a lot. This is and is is sort of the sandwich or the hamburger navigation, the upper left, is that new or not? I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
If you're in their upper left as well, you can actually see like if you mouse over, you can see the amount of give tokens that you have currently in your wallet, and then you can actually see like anywhere on the DApp the breakdown of give tokens that you're earning, your give stream flow rate on that chain, and then you can kind of link directly to those different sections. Yeah, we just like added a bunch of little things just to make it easier to like explore and move around the DApp.
I really like that cursor over on the balance that you can see your flow rate right there without having to toggle over to the stream. Very cool. I have a dummy wallet, of course, up here,
Mm-hmm.
trying not to screw myself on that part, but very cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and you're saying you made it essentially a lot easier to even just launch a project if you have a cause worth giving to. Um,
Yeah, yeah. We just made it easier so that like if you wanted to launch a project, I mean it was always easy to launch a project. If you want to add a project to Giveth, you just you can just click create a project. It's that big pink button at the top right corner of the screen, and you just fill out your project name, your description, et cetera, et cetera. But now we have it so that you can actually save your project as a draft, and if you want to come back to it later, it's like you can just navigate away from that page, and everything that you had created is already there. You can also see a preview of it after you add in all the information. There's the option at the bottom next to publish. You can preview the project and it'll show you what it's going to look like and like how everything's going to be presented. So you can even upload your photo and see if it's formatted well. And I think it really adds like a lot of ability for the user, the project owner, to just play and make it more beautiful.
I really always
So
liked,
it's like
yeah.
UI UX improvement, beautifying, and then we also like I think it's just also really exciting. We also did we created a fully automated test suite, so we can have like our code is like auto testing itself. So it's like when we're pushing new fixes, it's like they're getting checked, and it's like we really improved the code base as well, and just made it also easier for other dev. All our code is open source, and we made it easier for people to come in and build on top of it.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, I know you sort of hopped in towards the end of the last hour right at the top. We spent a lot of the last hour talking about all sorts of the craziness that's happening with hacks and weak code and all that. Now, I'm not a dev, right? But Billy is. And so he has some good insights. And it's just really, I literally said at the beginning, I was like, okay, so we're going to spend an hour talking about all the craziness happening. And then we're going to talk about an hour why crypto's the future, because of projects like Giveth that are intentional and really carefully taking all of these things into consideration. That's awesome. Great to hear. And I think people, again, if you haven't, head over to giveth.io and get yourself involved in the Give economy there. You guys got an awesome new farming opportunity too, right? On mainnet.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that as well. If you head over to the Give Economy tab from the DApp, and then go into the Give Farm. We actually just launched on Saturday. It started. It was actually a little bit of hiccups when we were doing the launch. We actually had our main dev was on vacation when the launch was pushed, so we had a little bit of like last minute multi-signing to make sure that the rewards were going out. But now it's live, and it's actually our most like our highest APR pool. It's right now it's got 842% APR on Give Die pairs on mainnet. And this was actually after the end of a long like since we met up, also since we saw each other last in East Denver, we had like some changes happen through the Give farm. We previously had incentivized a Give ETH pair on Uniswap v3, and had designed the program under the assumption that you would earn rewards proportional to the amount of liquidity provided. But it's actually people who provide concentrated liquidity on UniV3 are actually also earning significantly more rewards than people who are providing full range liquidity. And it was a whole learning experience doing this, and it's all chronicled on our Twitter as well. If you search the Giveth Twitter for UniV3, and so what we ended up doing is we actually stopped the UniV3 incentives program because it had like totally disproportionate rewards for concentrated liquidity, and this information wasn't really widely known. So people coming into the pools who were providing full range liquidity thought that they'd be earning the same rewards, but like didn't have that information. And I think it's actually just like not very widely known that UniV3 incentive programs work this way. So we ended up taking it down, and that's why we launched this new Uniswap v2 Give Die pool. So it's like you earn rewards proportionate to the amount of liquidity you provide. And yeah, I feel so much better about it now in the Give farm.
Yeah, and that Give ETH liquidity has been migrated over to Balancer, it looks like. Is that right? An 80-20 pool there?
Yeah. Well, the Give ETH pool was always there on Balancer as well.
Okay.
We previously had Give ETH pair on UniV3, and we had it on Balancer. So we just shut down the UniV3 pool we just shut down the Give ETH pool on UniV3 and replaced it with. We chose a Give Die pair because we wanted to have also some stable token liquidity as well for
Yeah,
Give, because
sure.
we all of our pairs were Give Honey, Give ETH, all like volatile currency pairs.
Yeah, see, I haven't toggled
Yeah,
over to mainnet, to be honest, recently. I'm excited for this though.
it's the sickest APRs in the Give farm right now. You
Yeah.
can earn 800% on your Give DAI pair. I mean, on Gnosis chain, it's still 500% on Give Honey pairs, so that's a really good one, especially considering on Gnosis chain you don't have to pay all the gas fees for the staking and unstaking that you do on mainnet. So that's also a really good place to put your Give.
I was gonna say if you're already on Gnosis chain, don't forget about these pools. If you haven't seen them yet, right? There's Give Honey pool on HoneySwap, and then there's a Give ETH pool on SushiSwap, both with really nice APRs. And just I always got to note because people ask about this. The single side, what looks to be a single sided, it is essentially a single sided staking opportunity here. This also intersects with governance, right, Lauren? So if you're without complicating, if you stake your Give, you have the ability to participate in the DAO governance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you stake your Give in this or in this 100% Give staking pool on Gnosis chain, it's actually exactly the same as if you were on the Gardens interface and wrapping your Give to get GGive. So when you stake your Give in this pool, you're actually also getting the GGive, and you can use that to vote in the Give Garden, which is our decentralized governance platform that was actually built by OneHive.
Awesome. I'm going to show this back again, the healthy APR for the DAI
Yeah.
pool. People on mainnet. This is the
Yeah.
best place to be.
Yeah.
Not financial advice, but
Best place to be.
yeah.
No, not financial advice. Yeah. Actually, this is a good segue though. We could scroll down. And if you switch over to Gnosis chain and you go to the bottom of the Give farm page, I would love to talk about this a little bit too. So if you noticed, the APRs are pretty sick in the Give farm, and the reason that we can sustain these high APRs is because we actually have the rewards earned are partially going into the user's Give stream. So the Give stream is like a flow rate of Give over time. It's kind of like a UBI, but you can a UBI-esque reward stream, but you can increase those rewards by providing liquidity, you're getting givebacks, et cetera, et cetera. So basically with the APRs are giving you rewards, and some part is claimable and some part is actually going to the Give stream to stream over the next, in the case of Giveth, over the next 5 years. So it's like you have some part that you get right away into your wallet and some part that you get over time. And so this actually minimizes the sell pressure from offering the high liquidity rewards, and also encourages people who are farming to get involved in the long-term mission and vision of the DAO. So people who are using the Give farm are going to have Give tokens coming to them until 2026. So they want to also make sure that the Give token price is doing well. They want to see that the Give community is succeeding because it's also going to be beneficial for them because they're getting these tokens over time.
Right, absolutely. You get to use that unique mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. So because this is like such a cool novel concept, it's like sustain high APRs and align people in the long term with the success of the project. We actually got interest from other DAOs and starting with Shapeshift, who is actually interested in using our contracts and using the system to set up a liquidity mining program, liquidity mining incentives of their own for their own token. So this is the regen farms. So it's at the bottom here of the Give farm page. And so we partnered with Shapeshift and we set this all up. So basically, a DAO who's interested in creating a regen farm, they provide the tokens that are going to be going out to their liquidity providers, and then they get to, we set it all up with our front end and with our contracts, and we help them launch the pool. And so you can actually provide Fox Honey in the Give farm, and you can stake your Fox Honey LP tokens. You provide Fox Honey liquidity on HoneySwap, and then stake those LP tokens, and you can actually earn rewards in Fox and earn a Fox stream as well. So it's like you're getting liquid rewards and you're also getting a Fox stream, and the Fox stream is going to run until the same time, until December of 2026. So you can see there on the right side the Fox stream progress bar. This is like how much of your total Fox has become liquid, and you can see how much longer your Fox stream is going to run. And yeah, it's a super, super cool concept. And we love the idea of partnering and like building DAO to DAO relationships, partnering with other DAOs and like offering them the equipment to set up these liquidity mining incentives. And then it's also great because it's like one place where people could go in and earn rewards for providing liquidity to support like a bunch of different favorite DAOs of theirs in the blockchain for good ecosystem. So we launched with Fox Honey, we launched with Shapeshift, and now we're working with Cult, who's interested in creating a regen farm. They're going to create a Cult ETH regen pool or regen farm on mainnet. So we're starting to build with them, and we have a lot of other DAOs that are interested in setting that up as well. So it's kind of like you can ape into 4 good DAOs and earn these liquidity mining rewards and a bunch of different tokens all in one place.
That's awesome. Now, say again, what was the project that might be coming online soon on mainnet?
It's Cult DAO. So
Cult DAO. Okay.
yeah, they're actually a pretty new project. They launched, I think, in February or March of this year, but they have already a huge following on Twitter. It's really like fun and edgy, a Cult DAO, and they actually have it set up so that their DAO is you can ETH from the DAO, and it's always 13 ETH is like each proposal. So it's like this kind of like culty, mystical feeling a DAO, and it's like they're really like supporting decentralized projects, decentralized for good projects in this space. And so it's like the DAO funds are going to basically just support the blockchain for good space. And they just did they released their token in February or March of this year. Their Twitter is actually, we are Cult DAO. I'm trying to open it up right now. Yes, so that's going to be Cult ETH is going to be the next regen farm that we're going to be adding into the mix in the Give farm.
Very cool.
Yeah,
you got 2 things to look forward to on mainnet then, huh? Well, one is already ready.
Definitely. One is already ready. And I can explain a little bit more. So regen farms, like the next question is like, I mean, when we were setting it up too, the question was kind of like, okay, but what actually makes this regen? Like, why are these regen farms? And there's actually a couple of reasons that we decided to call it regen farms. The first one is actually because the DAOs that are able to create these regen farms, we create a forum proposal in the Giveth forum, and then the community has to vote on whether or not it's like working towards the blockchain for good future. And then so you can actually on each regen farm, you can click the little question mark in the top corner of the card. You can see it on Shapeshift. You go back to the Give farm section, you click the little question mark in the top corner of the Fox Honey farm, and it flips over. The card flips over. And it gives like the little explanation of what is Shapeshift and like how are they working towards the regenerative future. And then but in addition to having the DAOs are regen DAOs, the DAOs are actually supporting with their liquidity mining incentives. They're putting a percentage towards supporting verified projects on Giveth. So, and if anyone's not familiar with Giveth, we've been talking a little bit about it, but I didn't really give like a rudimentary explanation. It's a platform for good projects to raise funds, and it's a lot of meat space public goods projects. And we have a system for verifying projects where we basically check to make sure that those projects have reputation at stake, have credibility, and that they're providing public goods. So it's like projects that are stewarding land or that are feeding the homeless, that are offering open source development courses for free in different languages. So there's a lot of really cool public goods projects that are on Giveth. And the 4 good DAOs that are actually setting up these liquidity mining incentive programs in the Give farm, they actually send a portion of the funds that would go out to the Giveth matching pool. So the Giveth matching pool is where we're actually collecting funds, and we're going to be distributing those funds to verified projects on Giveth. So it's like we're helping other DAOs come into the Giveth platform, and we're supporting them in setting up these streams to get people to get more liquidity for their token and get people aligned with their projects long term. And then those DAOs are also creating a donation to verified projects, so they can be supporting verified projects in the meat space yeah, and it's a really cool system that I think that we've set up here, and it's like a really nice way to integrate in the space, I think.
Absolutely. Well, and to frame this sort of concept of blockchain for good and regen, like providing a system that not only interprets it or like provides a meaningful definition, but then there's actually a product there too, right? That can really help people bootstrap um, and combine liquidity. I mean, you look at I guess the Give token right now between just liquidity opportunities here. You have this. I don't know. I find token pairing highly interesting, right? In terms of like the way that it bonds different projects together. So whether it's with One Hive or with the larger Ethereum space, now obviously with a stable coin, just very cool. I dig it.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Yeah. And so if anybody's watching and anyone is like has a DAO that has a token and they're interested in getting involved in regen farms, there's actually in the article that you're looking at, and there's actually a type form. I think I also sent you the link before. You can also scroll down to the bottom of the page. If you scroll down to the bottom of the Give Farm page, there's like an apply for your DAO, add your DAO, and that link actually goes to the type form where if you're interested in setting up a regen farm for your DAO and your DAO has a token and you want to get involved in this, it's just a series of questions that are like asking for the link to the token and your Twitter and the DAO's Twitter and the website and like what's the governance process. And if you fill out that type form, then I'll see it and we'll reach out to you.
Yeah, I dropped it here in the chat as well, folks. So if you're interested in learning more, One Hive TV channel, we get a link to the Medium article we had on screen a second ago, as well as a type form here. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different ways you can get involved today, folks. If you're not already, either on mainnet or on Gnosis chain, right? If you're interested in participating in some of the farming opportunities, of course. Like I think it's if you're new to this whole give economy, I would just also emphasize like, if say you are in a pool that provides yield and give, right? The best thing that you can there's a lot of ways you can do that to use it afterwards, right? As far as use case, but I would definitely head over to the givebacks and learn about this dynamic. I know you've talked about this a lot, Lauren, but in case people haven't heard of it before, when they're pulling their yield, if they then turn around and donate a portion of that to the projects on Giveth, then they can also see some of that in return, right?
Heck yeah. I mean, I love talking about givebacks, and it's like I think it's one of the coolest things that is on Giveth, honestly. It's basically you get give, we pay you in give when you donate to verified projects. So what a lot of people are doing, and what I'm doing as well, is I'm farming in the Give farm, and then when I harvest my rewards, I actually go onto the DApp and I donate some of it to a verified project. So the verified projects, as I mentioned before, are projects that we've checked out and verified that they are providing public good. So if you go onto Giveth.io and you go into the projects page, you can actually sort by verified projects, and you can see a list of all the verified projects on there, and you can check them out and donate to any one of these projects. And then after you donate to one of these projects, after the givebacks round ends, givebacks rounds last 2 weeks. So at the bottom of the givebacks page, it shows you like what round you're in and when the round ends. After the givebacks round ends, you actually get give tokens back for your donation. You don't get the same amount of give tokens that you would have donated, but you do get a portion of it back. So you can donate in give or in any other token to one of these verified projects, and then we'll give you give tokens after the givebacks round ends. It's really, really cool. And then so it's like you give and then you get give, so you can give more so that you can continue on this endless cycle of giving. I think it's a really awesome program. And yeah, I mean I personally love using my interest, like the rewards that I earn on my farming, to share with verified projects. Yeah, so you can see there at the bottom, we're in givebacks round 10 right now. It's going until May 13th. So we're actually just at the beginning of givebacks round 10. So until May 13th, all of your donations to verified projects will qualify in this givebacks round.
It's a good time to get involved. Good time to get involved before this round ends, and see what you can see in return there. I mean, I think one of the nice things I love about the projects UI is when you click over you have the opportunity to learn more, right? And you can of course like the projects, and you mentioned that you can then keep track of that list. But if you're in the Give farms and you're active in crypto and harvesting that yield, just clicking over here and clicking donate, like it's very nice, very low friction. You click like literally 2 clicks and you can give. So really cool. I like that easy path in the UI there.
Yeah. Thanks, Two Wells. I appreciate that stamp of approval. Yeah, I think it's a really cool system, honestly.
Yeah, and I know you got a lot of cool stuff in the
Yeah.
making too. Like I know there's some new features you wanted to share a little bit of today, or stuff that was related to Give Power you'd mentioned before. I'm curious to learn more.
Yeah, so this is like kind of alpha leak. I mean, we're still working in the design phase of this, so iterating on the design, but I'd love to just kind of share with everybody what's coming soon, or like what's a big feature coming soon with Giveth. And yeah, and we've talked about this a little bit before. When we launched the Give economy, like the roadmap was completely transparent, and Give Power is really the next milestone on the Giveth roadmap. So I think I shared with you the link to the Figma. You could open it up. It's like really alpha level, but the way Give Power will work is that when you get Give tokens, when you have Give tokens, you can either buy Give tokens or you have Give tokens from farming. You will be able to stake your Give tokens in what's essentially a single-sided staking pool on the Give farm. You can also choose to stake your tokens and lock them. And when you stake and lock your tokens, you'll actually get a greater APR for a longer lockup period of time. And you'll also get a greater amount of what's called Give Power. And Give Power is essentially going to be like project curation power on the Giveth DApp. So I wonder where's the best place to send you to. You can
I got
go
the
over to
Figma
the
up on
left.
screen. Okay. Oh, you see. Okay, right. So over here, got it.
Head over to the left side. Yeah, this part's not quite done yet, but head over to the left side where you'll see like the Give Farm section, and I think I'm watching.
Am I on the right part?
Stream.
Okay, so the YouTube I think lags just a little bit behind our voices here. Like, is it on the Figma? I should be like on the top left where it says Give Power. It's slightly grayed out, but it looks like a mock UI. Is this the best spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good spot, and you can also go to the section near there to the left where it's damn. I think it's just too hard to navigate around the Figma right now. Oh wait, yeah. No, it's grayed out because these were like retired designs that we've actually iterated on. So I'll explain. Oh, there it is at the bottom. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Which one now? What color is it?
So it's not grayed out, and it's down. I'll wait for the YouTube to stop
got
lagging.
it. I think I got
below
it.
the grayed out section. And it's kind of like a Give Farm mock-up UI, but it has like extra modals and cards at the side of it.
Sure. Is there a specific modal? I think I got it. I have Give Farm. Stake for Give Power. Is this the guy? These modals.
No, I think it's lower. It's lower. Oh, technical difficulties navigating.
Oh, it's all right. See, this is I was gonna say, folks. But the big idea is that you'll be able to lock up certain Give to boost, and then the other was like a curation aspect, right? For projects.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's actually two sides. Yeah, you're close now on the YouTube. Yeah, there. If you zoom in on these like locking modals, it's like it says review at the top of them. Yeah, exactly. So when you stake your tokens, you'll actually be able to choose an amount of rounds that you'll lock. And the longer that you lock your tokens, the greater your APR, and also the greater amount of Give Power that you get. Then that Give Power will actually be like voting power on projects. And so you'll be able to distribute the Give Power to projects on the DApp. I mean, and Give Power is like you can distribute it to projects. It's not like a donation. It's like kind of staking on projects to show your support. It's sort of like voting on projects. Give Power is like project voting power. So it's like you can distribute your Give Power onto projects, and then the projects that have the most Give Power, the projects that are liked most by the community of Give Power users, will actually get a greater amount of the matching funds. You know how we were talking about the Give with Matching pool?
Yeah.
Like the Give Power will help distribute the matching funds. And also the projects that have the most Give Power, their donors will get more give backs. So right now the total amount of give value that gets sent to the donors is like 75% streamed over time. 75% of the value of their donations streamed over time. With Give Power, the top voted projects will actually get a greater percentage of give back. So it's like they might get 78% of their donation back streamed over time in give tokens. So it's really cool. It's like basically like if that was confusing and I just kind of like throw it all away, at its rudimentary level, we're creating a win-win relationship between projects and give holders. So projects benefit when they get voted on by getting more matching funds and by their donors getting more give backs. And then the give holders benefit by curating the project because they actually start to earn a yield on those give tokens. And if they lock up tokens and they get more give power, they can vote more, and they also earn a higher APR. So it's a really cool system that's starting to come out, but I feel like I might have explained it in a confusing way. So like, ask me questions.
No, this is really, I think I got the grok of it here, but I want to ask a few follow-ups, which is essentially, so about specifically the give power and the way it intersects with the project's curation. So is it the case that, users that have high give power, the projects that they have liked, right, those are the ones that are going to get the boost in terms of the matching funds? Is that accurate?
Yeah, so basically the projects, people like boosting a project is basically giving the project give power. It's like you can boost a project with your give power. So we're using this like rocket ship emoji for give power, and then you can kind of like boost and allocate give power to specific projects. So actually I'm in the Figma, so you can actually follow me, I think. Just like
I will do
on
just
me.
that. Yes.
So I'm gonna go over yeah, so you can actually go over to this side here. And so this is kind of what it'll look like from the project page side. You'll be able to like click boost here. And then you can give some percentage of your total give power onto that project. And then it'll be like, yeah, you did it. Okay, you're allocating your give power. And then it'll show like the project's ranking. So it's like the project with the most give power on the DApp will be ranked position number 1. And then it's like you can see like who's voting on that project and how much give power they allocated. And yeah, and so then this project, if it was like higher in the ranks, it'll get more matching funds and its donors will get more give backs.
That is awesome.
Does it make sense?
Yes. Seeing is believing here. I get it now. So this is actually embedded on the project, your ability to like use the boost that you've accrued from locking tokens, right, to sort of help direct funds to the best high performing projects in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the give token holders still get to keep their give tokens, and so it's a kind of like a new way to support projects. Like in addition to donating, you can just use give power. It's like you keep your give tokens, you stake them, and it's like you encourage more donations to that project, and you also help encourage more matching funds to that project. So it's like there's 2 different ways to support projects then on Giveth. You can donate, and you can also use give power.
This is quickly becoming, one of the most interesting, I think, tokenomics ecosystems. I had never seen anything quite like this, and then the fact that obviously it's integrated with supporting these regen projects makes it win-win-win. I love it. People, if you have any questions for Lauren, please drop them in the chat. I know we have folks here that are very much familiar, but other people who might. We got almost 100 folks with us here in the channel. So anybody questions, One Hive TV channel. If you scroll up, drop them there. We're still streaming on YouTube, but I'm not currently viewing that at the moment, so I'm not able to curate that chat at the current second. We had some bandwidth issues, but any questions, comments, please drop them there. And so what are you thinking? Is this something that in the back half of this year? I know software, it's very hard to put a date, but I'm stoked. Obviously the give power is you're thinking Q3, Q4, perhaps?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm hoping, yeah. Q3, Q3, but early Q3. I mean, I'm hoping really soon. You know, I've been really pushing this project. I'm the product manager for this project, so I'm like leading the whole everything about it. So working right now with the designers, and the designs that we're looking at right now aren't done, but they are getting quite close. It's like we're almost
Yeah.
onto it, and at the same time we're working on the contracts. We actually have Sem from One Hive who's helping us out with the Give Power Smart contracts, and like working on how we're going to actually be like distributing these the Give Power projects. We're talking about doing it actually all on chain, so like we'll be able to kind of like track the Give Power for projects that'll all be on chain. But it's like we're still working out the best way to do that, and I mean it's really exciting, and it's kind of the next big thing that we have coming up. And right now we're actually like we're a little bit blocked by design. It's like the designers are working hard on it, and we have like devs on standby. Like our front end devs are like, we're ready to start Give Power.
That's an interesting situation to find yourself in. I imagine most people looking for devs to do the work.
It's so funny, and yeah, it is really interesting. We have a great dev team. I mean, like as you can see from like we were going over it pretty quickly, but it's like with the new DApp updates, like the total makeover and making our code base improved and just like making everything faster and more efficient. It's like our dev team is just full of rock stars, and they're fast and they're smart, and yeah, and our designers are amazing too. It's just we only have like 2 designers and we have like 10 devs.
Well, Marco's the man. Is he working on this one too? I know he did the original Giveth.
Marco's supporting. He's still supporting and overseeing, but actually Marco's been working a lot more on General Magic and the design for General Magic. So he's trained Mo Sadie, and Tossin, who are kind of two key UI UX designers right now.
Got it. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look forward to this then. We'll keep an eye on your Twitter. Folks, is it underscored on Twitter? Underscore.io? I forget. Just Giveth.io.
Just at Giveth.io, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, follow them, folks, for the updates here on everything we're discussing.
Yeah, and also like if anybody's watching and like has questions or comments about Give Power, like I'm totally open to receiving suggestions. Like I'm at Karmatic Acid on Twitter, and just DM me if you have any ideas. We're still working on a little bit of like how to communicate this well. That's why I'm like kind of when I'm explaining, I'm still working through like the right words to make it very clear to people. But I think it's going to be like a really powerful. I mean, it's going to be really powerful curation system for projects on Giveth, and I think it's really going to like help support projects in a new way.
Absolutely. Well, I know you had some additional stuff here, exciting news sort of in the works. Well, I guess, do you want to move to Angel Vaults, or what would you like to hit next on Giveth?
Let's hit the NFT. Let's hit the NFT integration, because I think it'll be a little easier to explain. The Angel Vault is some chaos that I would love to talk about too.
Okay.
But yeah, let's touch on this NFT integration. I think like there's a Twitter thread about it, which might be nice to open up, and then there's also the forum post. So maybe I didn't send you the right.
I think I got the
Twitter
oh, is this not the thread? Okay, let me see here. Well.
Oh yeah, I'll just DM it to you.
Sure. Is it the I don't know how to pronounce this.
Point art. Yeah, you got it. That's it.
Okay. I see the Ethereum Ukraine.
So okay. Yeah, so Point Art is a super cool project, and I'll just give like a little brief overview of like what their project is. It was like with Kyle Stargarden from Rainbow Rolls and a few other different people. They set up this NFT project that's supporting Unchained Fund. Unchained Fund is a project that's supporting NGOs in Ukraine who are helping people affected by the war in Ukraine. And Point Art is basically a project where anyone can upload an NFT. Like artists can upload upload art that turns into an NFT, and then collectors can buy that NFT. But instead of the funds going to the artist, the funds actually go to Unchained Fund. They actually go to the project that's supporting people in Ukraine. So it's like artists can basically have the opportunity to donate art, and then collectors can purchase art while making a donation to a project. So it's a super cool project, and you can check them out on you can just check them out by searching poin.art. Poin is Poign. You can see right there, poin.art. That's their website, and you can kind of explore it. But we're actually creating a partnership with them, and this is what this tweet thread is about. We're creating a partnership with them where we want to use their development, like we want to use their tech to support any for good project on Giveth. So we have a forum post open up in the Giveth forum right now, but basically the way it would work is like an artist can upload an art to any project on Giveth, and then a collector could buy that art. The donation will go to the project, and then the givebacks will get split in between the artist and the collector, because it's like both people are actually making the donation in this case. And we want to make this like open and available for all the projects on Giveth. And we've been looking at ways to integrate NFTs into the Giveth platform for a long time. And I think that this is going to be a really, really exciting opportunity. Right now, it's still like we're still discussing and hacking through some of the details on the forum. We actually have Santi, who's leading the charge on project management with that, and working with Kyle and how we're gonna set this up. So there's a few different like questions that are in there, like should the NFTs be minted on mainnet? Should they be minted on XDAI? Should we have a whitelist for artists who are allowed to create art, or should anybody be allowed to upload the art for NFTs? And so there's like a few unanswered questions, but I'm really excited for this because I think like having this like NFT layer onto Giveth is gonna, be really, really amazing for another different way to support public goods projects and to use like Web3 to support for good projects.
That's really cool. I mean, again, it's we were talking about Yuga Labs in the first hour and all the chicanery over there. And so again, seeing that same technology and working with these for good projects, it really makes me bullish on this. This is really cool. And so right now, if there's an action item, if people, is there a Poin art? Is it integrated with the Giveth project right now, or if they wanted to give, they would go directly to the project, or how can they get involved here?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of ways. So Unchained Fund, which is the project that Poin Art is using as the recipient of the funds, that's actually a verified project on Giveth. So if you check out the thread, there's a link to Unchained Fund in the thread, I think. Yeah. No. Yeah. There is. So you can find the link to the Unchained Fund verified project and donate directly to them. Or if you wanted to play around with this, with like adding an NFT or buying an NFT, you can go to poin.art, which is in the second tweet in the thread, and actually like explore their site and give and if you're interested in the discussion, I think so anyway. Unchained Fund is the project that's receiving the funds. Poin.art is the site. Yeah, this is it. The site where you can actually upload and purchase NFTs. And then if you wanted to get involved in the discussion, like from the Giveth side, and like how we're going to be adding NFTs for different projects, and if you just like have an opinion, like this is really cool, or like nah, NFTs on Giveth, nah. Like if you have an opinion in terms of like if you want to see this feature happen, weigh in on our forum. So it's our forum is forum.giveth.io, and this forum post is called using NFTs to facilitate new donations to projects. And it's like you could also search Poin Art, just search NFTs or Poin Art, and it'll come up, and you can leave comments in there or any feedback. And we're super open to kind of hearing from people as to like if this is something that they want to see, if this is a feature that you would actually use. Like, do you want to buy NFTs and donate that way, or then would you rather just see those NFTs on mainnet or on Gnosis chain? It's like user feedback is really valuable to us. So let us know.
Yeah, folks, I got the forum post up here on screen as well. Put the link in the chat there. I mean, it's very easy to follow through this post if you're interested in getting involved and weighing in. I think the whole frame is provided pretty concisely. Would encourage you to head over there, as well as any of the DAO forums. Get involved. If you're not already. There's a lot of opportunities here to contribute good stuff happening. Awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Uh,
if you want to give to Ukraine folks, definitely head over, right? Poing.art and Unchained.fund. Drop those links as well.
yeah, or you could search the Unchained Fund project on Giveth and actually donate to the Unchained Fund verified project and get givebacks.
Even better.
Another way to do it. Even better.
I think that's the best way to do it. Show
um,
that on screen too, folks.
I think so too. I think so too. Um, so and then so I guess there's one more kind of like big thing that we've been working on that I would love to just talk about a little bit, share a little bit more because it's coming soon and it's in the works and it's an interesting liquidity mining solution, like a novel liquidity mining solution. So, but it's a little bit complicated, and yeah, I'm happy to get into that if you like.
Is this on the Ichi front?
Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
Ichi front. So there's are you ready for it?
Yeah, so folks, if you want to follow along for this, because I know this is probably a little bit complex, what we're going to do is I'm going to post a link right now in the Discord server, and we also got it on screen. But I'm probably going to toggle over to some Ichi stuff while Lauren's speaking about this. So if you want to read the details, click on the forum link, and then I'll have some hopefully some helpful graphics on screen. But go for it, Lauren.
Yeah. Wait, I think the best forum post to check out is the one that's called Region Pool,
The
the
first
path
one?
to an Angel Vault. It may be much
Got
more.
it. Okay, we'll do that one
I
first.
think it's yeah. That's
I got the other link here.
Oh, the second one. The second one is the better one.
Got it. Okay, I got the one from Griff up.
Yeah. So great. Yeah. So basically we are talking about setting up an angel vault. And if you don't know what an angel vault is, I would definitely like check it out and look a little bit more into it. I think I could probably share a link as well, but I'll share it after I explain a little bit more. An angel vault is basically it's like you set up a Uni v3 buy wall. So it's like you provide like huge liquidity, huge buy side liquidity for your token on Uni v3 that protects the token from downward volatility. And Ichi's been helping people set up these angel vaults, and it's a super super cool thing. You basically put like the DAO will put in 10 to 20% of their market cap, protecting the token price from that downward volatility. And it's a super cool thing. It basically is like you have a lot of liquidity for the token, and then it also minimizes sell pressure on the token because it's like in order for the token price to actually go down, it would need to break through 10% of the token's market cap. So Shapeshift has set up one of these angel vaults, and there are a few other different groups who've set up angel vaults, and it's something that we've been talking about for a few months now, and a few months now talking about setting it up. And in order for Giveth to set up an angel vault, we'll actually need to provide both Give and a bunch of stable tokens. So it's like we're going to need to provide around $1 million or $800,000 to $1 million of a stable token. And we're going with Faye. Faye is a really cool decentralized stable token project. And the way that we're going to be setting it up is like we wanted to create something called a Rari Fuse Pool. And I don't know if you've been on Twitter, there's been a little bit of like fiascos with these Rari
Yeah, we
Fuse
talked about
pools
that
in the
one.
last days. Yeah, you did. You talked about it in the last hour.
The last hour, briefly, yes. Just we start with wrecked capital sometimes.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Continue.
Right. Yeah. So I mean there was some hack on these Rari Fuse pools, but not all of them were affected, and I don't actually really know the hacks, but it's stuff that we're definitely looking into. But what we were talking about doing is like basically creating this borrowing pool where people would be able to deposit stable tokens. They'd be able to deposit Faye and then earn Give APR, and you could earn. We're working on like what APR to provide for the stable token returns, but it's like you're basically putting in your Faye, earning Give yield, and then we would use that Faye to set up our Angel Vault and create this huge buy wall that prevents the token from going down. So it's like you are earning sick yields on your stable coins and helping to then protect the token that you get rewarded in from sell pressure. And it's really cool, and it's quite complicated, and there's even like some things that I'm still hashing through, but there's a ton of discussion in our forum on it. So this like region pool, path to an angel vault, and maybe much more. But it's been really interesting, like kind of going through the process, because like while we've been setting it up, it's like we've seen some crazy things happen with the Rari pool. Like just some weeks ago, Ichi had an issue with their token getting liquidated, and then they had their token price like dropped
Yep.
drastically, and it was, I think, because their Rari pool wasn't sufficiently collateralized. So it's like it's a super great lesson learned in terms of like, okay, like how do we actually parameterize our Rari borrowing pool? And then it's like I think it's amazing to see like what Faye's been doing, and in like trying to get like getting all the funds back from this recent hack. But I haven't followed like all the details on it. But it's like we've been talking about setting this up, and then all the while there's been like these interesting kind of like crazy things that are happening like within the realm. But I think that they're just like they're really like strengthening the way that we are designing the system to set this up so that it's actually like beneficial for everybody. And it's like I don't even understand all of the details of everything, but we've got a group of people at Giveth who are like working on this, and I think it's still a really interesting idea. But anyway, open to questions and hacking through some of the ideas about it.
We got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, folks, if you've been in for the broadcast today, there's a lot of stuff going on at Giveth, and obviously this last part in the Angel Vault is certainly the sort of the most complex. I know that Shapeshifted has done this as well. Like I remember following at the end of last year, they were experimenting with some stuff and had AMA with Ichi and all that, and really interesting tech. Listening to Brian, I think was his name, right, from the Ichi side, really smart guy, talking about the tech that they're building there and really providing these unique opportunities to manage, I guess, price performance in certain ways at the community level, right? Very cool.
Yeah, and Shapeshift's setup has been really good. Like their Rari pool wasn't at all affected by this recent hack, and their Angel Vault is still going strong as well. And yeah, it's really cool. And actually, we have like Willie from Shapeshift, who you know as well. Willie has been bringing a lot of these ideas into Giveth, and then like starting a lot of the discussions. And so it's like we're really going deep down the novel liquidity solutions rabbit hole. It's like because farming is one way to get liquidity for your token, but it's like how else can we do it? So I mean, we're also doing a lot of really great stuff, like token swaps is a really great solution for getting liquidity.
Right.
And like we're participating in water token swap with OneHive and TEC and Bright, and this is going to be really 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 like a cool novel solution for getting like the index token and liquidity for all these DAOs. And I mean, I'm stoked about that. And then like we're also doing like other individual token swaps. Like we did one with TC, one with Bright, one with Node. We have one in our forum for Fox, like Fox Give, and then we've got one coming up for No, like Gnosis token, No and Give. And it's like there's so many different ways to get liquidity for DAO protocol owned liquidity that don't require farming. And it's like we're kind of just like building out all these different aspects of it so that we can really support the Give token. Because I think like I mean the long term sustainability and value of the Give token is like really central and necessary to our whole mission. Like Give Power, in order for Give Power to be successful and Give Back to be successful in this entire roadmap, it's like we really need to be focusing on also like supporting the token in interesting ways. So it's like we're coming at it from all angles, and kind of like what we went over in this last hour was like all the different angles of things that we're building in order to kind of like support the overall mission in Giveth. So it's been crazy. It's been a wild few months, honestly.
Well, and for those you don't know, Lauren has spearheaded this whole Give economy rollout, and it's been fantastic. Anybody who's had a chance to participate, I think, has had a great. I mean, this is all. It's so many new things in the crypto space, and it borrows so much from what people may be familiar with in terms of yield farming. But the fact that it's all aimed towards really trying to make the world a better place, folks. If you're not bullish on Giveth, I think you should be. Again, not financial advice, but if you're hearing about this for the project for the first time today, definitely head over to giveth.io. And explore. Drop questions in chat, even if you have them like after the show's over. OneHive TV chat. Feel free to drop them at me. Maybe add Lauren, and we can definitely help you out. Whether you're whether you're somebody who's doing this on sort of a general user side, if you're a project that's interested in having a regen farm, etc. Definitely dive in. one of the best teams here in crypto. Always enjoy having you on, Lauren. It's been a blast. We really come out. We're gonna come out of so much stuff. I don't think I've covered so much stuff in an hour. Gotta be honest. This is
We were well prepared.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for facilitating, T. Wells. It's always such a pleasure to be here. You do such a good job of managing all the chaos, and just are just a delight to talk to, honestly.
Likewise, Lauren. Likewise. We're all in this together. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll chat soon. We got to have you back on when that Give Power goes live, at least for sure.
Yeah, sounds great. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Cheers, Lauren. And GM, everybody. Really appreciate you all tuning in today here on Discord, whether you're here, whether you're on YouTube. As always, 1HTV on YouTube. We set up that new channel a few weeks back here, and we're going to continue to post highlights, etc. on OneHive.org Twitter. We got a show on Wednesday afternoon on NFTs and gaming. We have our Spanish language show with music listening party on Thursdays. Miguel will be running that as well, and I will look forward to hearing more about this water project you've heard about off and on today. Hopefully next week Paul will be able to join us and share the latest on all that. But y'all have a great week. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll talk to everybody soon. GM.